Hello, hello, welcome to the stream. And why is it small? Okay, there we go. Hello. Welcome all you people interested in crypto security and keeping your coin secure. You're in the right place. I'm going to talk about my epic journey of how I made my own backups. I'm going to show what I was looking at. I'm going to show what I ended up with. I'm going to show all the information, all the links, all the details, everything that I've gone through, and then a few of the things that I have right now and which you also can do yourself without ever needing anyone else to do it, or how to do it in an easier fashion, I would say. Okay, let's go. Let's start. And I'm also going to say hello to the chat real quick. Thank you for joining. Belliot, Bran, Dagmar Crew, and Anna Makery. Hello, hello. Welcome. Let's bring on the stream share. I'm going to start with this little beautiful jig, but this is like the end result of what I ended up with. And what I had in the end, my solution. But in the very, very beginning, when I was just a little pup, I was just interested in what am I going to do? What if there is a house fire? What is if there is an earthquake? Like maybe I should have something else than just a flabby piece of paper that's gonna die in the next moment. Then something happens. Like cat is pissing on it, the dog is eating it. Whatever happens, like it's not good to have it just in paper. Even if you have it in 3 parts, maybe you want it another house and so on. I don't really quite like it because it's just too flimsy. So metal is the way to go. And the very first thing that I found was these titanium grade seed storage plates. And you can see, actually, let me zoom in just a little bit for you. And you can see those are inscribed because titanium is kind of hard, and those are actually also not easy to buy, or if you find them, they're hard to buy. And you can see fireproof, waterproof, timeproof, tamper evident. So you got these little sets here as well. You got this little button or screw that you can hide the plates, and it's up to 24, obviously. And this one is like higher premium ColdTI, so titanium. Usually you want to get like something between grade 2 or 4 for titanium. And in the very, very beginning, I also found like eBay links where you were able to buy just the plates, and they were not as neatly prepared and with the numbers and the, how do you call them, brackets or lines or so on. Those were also viable, and they were pretty cheap. There was someone selling them just on eBay. You can buy them a bunch. And obviously what you want, if you do go this route, by the way, you want to make sure that it's adequately thick titanium, because if you get just a super thin plate and can still like break, you might have issues when you stamp because it starts to warp. Like the moment you start hammering it with a hammer, you end up with something that bends inwards, and then you're gonna have a little bit hard time storing it. But usually like 2, 4, 5 millimeters is like good. Yeah. So this was the very first thing. I didn't get this one, by the way, because so even for a single plate, it's like $20 each time you have a backup. And in my mind, I had like, okay, do I really want to have something that costs like $20? And in some cases, like this one is even rather cheap. You'll end up with something that's I don't know, $80, $100. The super hardcore costly solutions, they go up to like $350 for just one backup. And I wanted something that scales a little bit more easily because I wanted to have multiple keys, multiple backups, and so on. So I went on searching, and I also found this guy here. It's the Cryptosteel. You got this one on the Ledger shop as well. But this one also is like super flimsy. I don't really trust it. I don't like a system that if you ever do a mistake or something happens, that all the words fall out and they're not secured. But this one is actually pretty sturdy and can survive a lot of damage, so to say. Then I found this one, and I really liked the concept of it. Until I later found out, you can check out one of my previous stream, I think number 2, where actually, well, they say it's like waterproof and so on, fireproof, but if you take a torch to it. So we have some. Actually, let me bring that up, that picture. Like, but Billfodl is one of those. And not Billfodl specifically, by the way, but any tile-based backup is like super flimsy. They get destroyed easily. They warp, and if you apply pressure, if there is anything like an earthquake or something, and it starts to bend, you're gonna lose all those little tiles. You're gonna lose all the little snippets and tiles, all those plates, and you won't be able to recover your seed words. But I really like the concept in the beginning. It's also super expensive, like 99 for one. Oof. I don't want to pay every time I make a new backup, or just want to try things out. Like, hey, let's do a new backup. I don't want to order one for $99. It's a little bit much. Let's have a look. Yeah, there. This is the end result, like after some stress testing, because it breaks open. When heat is applied, it starts to warp the metal, and then you're losing all the words. Yeah, it's just meh. Then I also looked at this one, Keystone Tablet. It's kind of similar. It was a little bit cheaper, so I was looking at all the ones available at that time, and then you can punch out the individual pieces, and then you put it together into. Can I increase? Oh, yeah, put it into the thing. It's pretty much the same design. And then here's another one, black seed ink. So this one, you don't have stamps, but you have this engraver with it, and it's just a very sharp tool. Sometimes it's like a diamond tip, and the better inscribing tools, they're like really rigid, and you can really press on it. I found this a little bit lacking, because I don't trust, if you want to have something for like 15, 20, maybe even 50 years, you want to give it to your children or something, I would prefer it to be like really indenting. And the moment you think about what is the worst case scenario that I'm trying to guard against, I'm trying to guard against an earthquake. I'm trying to guard against, I don't know, lava in Tahiti or something. I don't know. You want to reduce anything that could really shear the metal, and then the bigger the indent is that you can have in the metal, the more likely it is that you can recover the data if something catastrophic happens. And the inscribing is just like somewhat faint, so I'm not 100% on board with this. But it does look cool. And you also got the rivets to put it together. Not sure, is this one titanium or is this metal? I think this one was stainless steel, just painted. Let me just check. Steel, is it steel? Yeah, it is steel. So yeah, stainless steel, but they're covering it in black ink. So yeah. And then what do we have next? So then I found this guy, and this opened my brain. It's like, wow, I really like this. So this is just some, I don't know a lot about him, but he had this idea of having the seed backup for only 335, and he found it on forums. But this is the first time that I found this information on how to do it yourself. And he proposes, he is also telling about, hey, I have my ledger device, how do I store it? He has like a few backup solutions. Can I make this bigger? This, yes. So he has like his solutions that he already used in the past. And then, where is it? There. He has the Kobo wallet. He has like just a normal plate, and then the Li pile. Li pile, by the way, this one is melting away like crazy if you apply heat to it. It's just like swims away, floats away, melts away. And then he proposes like, why not just use metal washers? It's the first time I saw this idea, and he explains how you do it. He shows the tools that he has. So he has these little punch set, the stamps. Yes, this is not required, by the way, but a block on your table or something heavier. You can also just use like a wooden board or anything that doesn't break, any stone or something that you can just hammer outside. So maybe don't do it on your normal table, because you will get indents in the table, and for the stainless steel washers, you really have to hit hard, or maybe twice, and then you're gonna do 24, and then you're gonna maybe do multiple backups. So it's gonna destroy your table if you do it for a lot of backups. But yeah, this just helps to protect it a little bit. I also put a little blanket or a cloth under it to protect stuff even more, table. And then there you go. And he has this little jig. And this is the interesting part, because when I initially tried it out and bought these stamps, I did try doing it without the jig, because I just couldn't find it. It's really hard. It's like, it's surprisingly hard to find someone who's just gonna take your 3D model. You can easily find some 3D models for jigs, for toys and whatever, and print it for you and send it to you. So you have to know someone with a 3D printer. Then you have to explain to him how you want it, and then you have to deal with the measurements, because sometimes, depending on the plastic, depending on the filament, sometimes the print comes out a little bit too large, comes a little bit too small. So you have to have the right sizes, the right material. It has to fit together, and so on. But in the beginning, I tried to do it without this, because I just couldn't find it. And the results were kind of meh, because if you try to hammer it freehand, you have to be really careful, and it takes a really long time, because if you slip up, if you get one hit and then you do a double hit where it double stamps, it immediately breaks it. So you have to have at the very least 6 stamps if you just do the base number of the seed word, and the minimum 4 letters to make the seed word. But if you do a full round, so you do 8 letters, the 2 for the number, and what I also like to do is put 4 numbers of the BIP39 word. So this time I have redundancy in the word, and I have redundancy in the number. So I know which one it definitely is, even if like something happens and snips in half, or for whatever reason, but I don't think it will. But yeah, just in case. So I'm like double sure. Now, this thing makes it so much easier to stamp, because you don't slip up. And I really cannot stress the night and day difference between me trying to do it freehand and then doing it with a jig. You lose much less washers due to misstamping, and it's just so much faster. Yeah. So I looked into this, and I wanted to find out like who is doing this jig here. I really tried to actually buy it from him and get him to send it to me, but just couldn't find any good sources for it. And this guy is Blockmit. You can see can you actually see it on the stream? I'm not sure. Blockmit. I'm gonna talk about his website a little bit later. Or actually, maybe as the very next. Did he actually? I think I might have. Oh yeah, here it is. So this is the CryptoCloaks link, and then from no, he has it. He actually bought it at CryptoCloaks. Yeah, let's open that up. So because this one is just a reseller, it's yeah, they're selling it for like $7.99. They have this jig here, and this is free, kind of like open source to use. And this guy, the John Chow, he's also having affiliate links to the individual like washers, the hex bolts, the stamping kit that he's using. That's the yellow one here. And yeah, and also the file on Tinkercad. I think this might have been the original. Yeah, this one was originally uploaded by Blockmit himself. That's the guy who designed. No, it doesn't show anything from him, but yeah. So here's the jig, the measurements, and then what we also got with it is his website where he has a blog. He has it in English and I think in Spanish. What's the original? I think in Spanish or Mexican, something like that. Anyway, he has this guide, and this is also, by the way, a very old system. It's not like this is new, but he made it a little bit more convenient. Actually, a lot more convenient. He has his like little bolt and set that he also made for himself. I couldn't for the world, by the way, find this. That would have been amazing to find as well, but yeah, just an additional protection outside. And then he has all the data here. He says what he has designed his jig for the exact size of the stamps and so on, what his bolt signs on. And he goes over the design process. So now this is interesting because in the original version, he did this minimalistic design where it's the two numbers for 1 to 24 for the word order. And then he does the 1, 2, 3, 4 exact spots for just the minimum amount of letters to stamp. He then improved it version 2 to this ring where I think it's also 16 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's like 20 or something. And then the dial, basically it moves always one over to get this one stamp where you can put it in. And then this one, he actually reduced it and removed it. He added this little nub here, so it's easier to get out. And this reduction here was a little bit weird because this one is much more versatile. With this one, you were actually able to use it for other things like seed phrases. So now I didn't like that he reduced the usefulness of this. And sorry, not seed phrase, but passphrase. So ideally, you want to use the same tool, the same things that you have for multiple things to do. And this one is just reducing it. So I was a little bit sad about it. And I was trying to find an alternative to this then, because this one was like almost perfect. And he even says it, version 3, the final one is what I was looking for. 2 upper gaps indicate the position number of the word on opposite side. And there are 8 gaps for the whole word. If you want, use the washer for 2 words to save space. We must not forget that 4 characters are enough to hold each word. Yeah, so it's like minimalistic. If you want to, you can only use these 4 like he did in this original version. So he shows it. He has his 3D printing here. He's doing the skirt outside. And this is like his full setup. As you can see, he has a giant block of steel ambers. No, it's called something else in English, I believe. Anvil, not ambers, anvil. He has his stamps, the washers, and then his example seed words that he wants to show. Showing the whole process here. Very nice. The tip with the with the tape at the bottom so it doesn't move, and then stamping process. Yeah. So I found this and I really like this, so I researched further into this direction. What I also found was James Stanley's blog. He has these little guys, and then you can see this is one of those tile-based. Is that the Billfodl? No, it's the Cryptosteel one, and then the destroyed crypto capsule. So, oh yeah, this is why I couldn't find it now. I remember. So this one was actually made by him. This doesn't exist. You cannot actually buy that anywhere. We have a question. Paul Sachs is asking, ever thought about using an arbor press to push multiple dies at once? An arbor press. Is that something you have to program? I don't know actually what an arbor press is. Arbor press. Let's see. Interesting. Images. So is this designed for stamping though? So you'd have to have something to do the letters though. Does that exist for the press? It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just this part here. Or can you exchange it? So if you can exchange it, and no, it looks like tools to cut or anything. Arbor press about $60. Okay. Would save anyone that's sensitive to impact from hammering. So the problem is getting the letters though. Like if there is some kind of set with letters that you can easily add to this arbor press, that would be nice. And just do. It's similar to it would be similar to a printing press. I mean, this is what we're basically doing here, right? Printing. Let's do this. So yeah, there you go. If this something like this can be incorporated into it, where you just set your letters and you press it exactly into the right medium, which is the washer or a plate. I mean, that would be awesome. But I just couldn't find one where you have everything at the same time. I'll look and see if Grizzly or Northern Tool have accessoires for that arbor. Yeah, cool. I mean, that would be really a good alternative. So you don't have to hammer and you just have everything in one go. But it's also a huge thing, right? $60 sounds okay. So basically, it's the same cost though, because you have to have the stamps, you have to have the hammer if you're like starting from nothing, and you have to have maybe some like block or something to put it on. So it probably comes to about $40 to $60. Maybe less. Like a hammer is probably not that expensive. Maybe like $5 for a hammer, 10, 20 for the stamps, depending on which ones you get. But yeah, but the problem is, how much does the mechanism cost to have the stamps in there, the letters? So that's gonna be the crux of the issue. Okay, moving on. So these are the initial washers that I looked at and found. And if you do this, actually watch out, because those, and also at certain vendors, you have to make sure that you buy the right ones. Oh, it's not zooming in to the right. Can I move it? Okay, there you go. So these washers are iron and they are zinc plated. So you have to, when you buy them, when you want to go for that solution, you have to make sure that you get at least A2 stainless steel. It's sometimes also called 3 or 4 stainless steel. because this is the one that has I think it was chromium and coal something mixed in, that it makes it actually stainless, because if you just have iron, it's not going to be as good. And the zinc is supposed to protect it from any issues, from wearing, from being exposed to oxygen. But if you're stamping into it, you're actually breaking this very thin zinc layer, and then it's useless. It's going to get corroded over time because the zinc layer is not there anymore. What Possack is saying, it's for sure a luxury way about pressing the seed phrase. I was just offering up a more efficient method. I'm personally still using an engraver. Okay, cool. No, cheers for the input. Like, and some people are actually really lucky, because some people, I've seen solutions that are really cool with people that have laser engravers at home, that have like real machinist giant $5,000, $10,000 machining equipment. Like they can make it at home just because they're already working on stuff like that, right? So it's some people are just lucky with that. So if you have maybe one of those arbor, what was it called? Arbor presses. Maybe you want to just get something like an accessoire, and you can do it more easily without hammering. I'm all for it. Okay, so don't buy zinc plated ones. That's what I found out a little bit later. And then this is just another one that I found, Seedor. I think this one was on the expensive side, if I remember correctly. Shop. Let's go shop. Yeah, it's like 149. This one is 288 euro. Wow. And this is a similar system. You have those enhance. You have the plates, and then if you see, can I zoom in here a little bit more? No, obviously not. Please zoom. If you can see, there is a little hexagon cut out, and that is so that the plate is not moving while it is in this jig. So this one is like fully, you have the jig, and it's somewhat like an anvil. You have the capsule, it's machined specifically, and you have the fitting stamps. You even get a hammer with it. I'm not sure everybody wants to buy the hammer. Like, come on, people, you don't have a hammer at home, but hey, they offer it, so it's cool, I guess. And this one is also with the USB hardware wallet. Yeah, it's the Bitbox 02 hardware wallet. Yeah, it comes along. So it's like a full set. And then you can expand it, but each backup will cost you what, $60? $60 for one backup. This is, it's 55 or something. Yeah, so it gets cheap, just a little bit cheaper, but each time it's still quite expensive. Also, just a few Seedor discs, okay, and laser engraving. Wow. Yeah, anyway. So that one was too expensive for me. And then this one shows how it's done. By the way, at the end of the stream, I'm going to put all the links into the description later on, just so you have all of these links as well. And then here you guys see this one is actually the hexagon where you put it on so the washer doesn't move. But unfortunately, they they made it so you can't really put normal washers in there if you wanted to do that. So, or it would jiggle around. It's not convenient to use it for something else. You're kind of limited to those that they are selling to you. Yeah. Anyway, so I started trying to find out more about this this jig and the most effective, best way, the best material, the best way to stamp, and so on. How did other people did it? And there is some older posts, especially like on this Bitcoin Talk forum. We got also here a reference to James Lopp, by the way. And then this guy is also using the Blockmit here. He's showing how he did it, what he was able to source, the hammer, the anvil. This is the Benekriat stamps that he bought. Some tamper-proof stickers. This one's funny. Some people do these containers here to hermetically seal it, and then put one of those stickers on the container so they know that, oh, I maybe placed it somewhere, and then when I return, I know that this seed is actually still never has been opened because I am the last one to have sealed it. So it's like a tamper-proof sticker, safety label, or whatever you call it. When you try to remove them, they leave a residue that's really hard to remove, and you cannot like clean it and do a new one. And there is a serial number and a date and your signature and so on. So it's hard to fake it if you want to have that extra care and security. Those you can usually find on Amazon or on climbing shops and so on, or hiking shops. Yeah, this is the full set. He also in case of accident protection. This is the full thing, and then he shows how he's doing it in the outside. Yeah. This is the end result. Even is marking them. That one probably won't last though for a few years. So it's again, it's paper. I think you should have stamped that. Yeah. And then I found out about James Lopp, the man, the myth, the mystery, the guy who is doing all the testing, who's doing all the reviews. And he has been in Bitcoin and crypto for a very long time. He has his own security company. Very, very inspiring. And he's doing all those block tests, all those seed tests, and he's going at it with metal. I went over it in a previous stream. He's going on at the metal with a blowtorch and doing the heat test. He is doing a crush test with 20 tons of force. He has a press that he's applying pressure on the things, and then he's rating it, how good they are, how much they cost, and so on. Here is the ColdTI that I had in the beginning of the stream. So here's the example, one stamped. This is etched in with some, I think he's using some kind of acid, something to etch it in. Then the heat stress test and so on. You see the results. So the data is still recoverable on this one. It's just beaten up, but yeah, it's very, very sturdy. I just don't like personally, I don't like the plates. And then he has lots and lots of information. I'm going to post this one in the chat because this one's the best article. Look. I'm not going to go over in detail because I already did this in another stream, and this is just about the journey. So then I also found this article from the Econoalchemist, who's also using the jig from Blockmit, showing the system, how it works, how it's holding up against corrosion, what the sizes are. He's also taking a blowtorch to it. You can see it's glowing hot. And then even though it's a little bit melted together, fused together, it comes out and there is no damage to the stamped words. They are completely readable. Recovery, and you have your seed words. And he also did the corrosion test for 40 days. And then same, it comes out and it's all perfectly readable. Yeah. So we went over this one already. So that's the Blockmit, his own version, his website. This is just from James Lopp, another article. And then I started looking into, well, which of these are the right stamps to get? Because there is also some differences between them. Some of them are just iron, so you have to watch out for that. Usually it's the ones that are just for leather stamping. So if you buy it, you have to watch out which one you buy. There are some, like this one, which is specifically for metal, and then they're usually made out of iron or steel. they can wear out, but the ones that are out of steel, the manufacturers actually say it, and then it's something like carbon strengthened steel or something like that. They say it sometimes in the description. And this one, yeah, here, electroplated hard carbon steel. This is one of them, and they have this also very nice clean chrome look to them. But the next thing you want to watch out for, and what I had to make sure, is that the size has to be the right one. Because when you look at the original Blockmit design, he actually says it. His design is for exactly this size, 6 millimeters. And some of the stamps, this one is a 3 millimeter letter, but the size of the does it say here actually? Which one do I have open? 3 millimeters. So okay, so this is for the letter and the round part. And then it doesn't say it on this, unfortunately, on this photo specifically, but this one is 6 millimeter in diameter for the shaft width, for the size of the stamp itself. So this one would fit. So you have to make sure that you get the right stamp if you want to use a jig. I know this is, by the way, the one that I have at home as well. So you go check it out. Yeah, this is exactly the same. It's the Benekriat 3 millimeters 1/8. 1/8. And some of them, so which one is it? Some of them have just different sizes. So this one is 8 millimeters. 8 millimeter letters. That means the shaft is probably like 10 millimeters. It's always a little bit bigger. What else do we have here? Which is this? This is just lowercase. And this one, so okay, so this one is 4 millimeters, and I believe the size of these stamps is actually 7 millimeters. So this one wouldn't fit in the jig, if I remember correctly. Does it say here? Oh no, it's 8 millimeters actually. Yeah, there it says. So the letter size is 4 millimeters, but it's double the size for the actual tool. It's 8 millimeters. So I had to check out that I have the right one for whatever jig I would get. And I ended up getting just the size because for me personally, I like the smaller form factor of the 7 millimeter or 8 millimeter washers, which are the smaller kind. And then some other people prefer the ones that are just bigger and are 10 millimeters. So I can see the size difference. Actually, let me zoom in on this so you can see the size difference here. I'm going to show a better picture in a second as well. Yeah. So yeah, these are the ones I found. And then this is just an alternative version. These are all US links. There are so many. Some are cheap, some are good. This one has only letters, I believe. So this one has no numbers. And yeah, for these sets, the ones that have 36 pieces, it's also noteworthy that there are letters, numbers, and you have one special character, the and squiggly special character usually. So you can have more options when you do a passphrase, for example. So you can use it the same thing, the same tool. You can use this to do your seed phrase, and you can also use it to do your passphrase. And that was a nice bonus, which I was looking for. This specific set is Oh, wait, no, I'm actually wrong. This one is 36 as well. It's just different size. So this one has steel letters and numbers, and it's pretty cheap, $9.99. So depending on where you look, you might find a really cheap version, which is totally able to do the work. So this one is just not chrome plated, but it's gonna stamp all the same. And then the next step was actually to see about the 3D print. In the end, I ended up with Creality, and I was looking at the lower models because for the world, like I said earlier, I couldn't find anyone to do the printing. I found out then a little bit later that a relative sister of my girlfriend actually had a 3D printer, and then we tried to have it done. So this was the first model, but it was like not fitting. It was squiggly. It wasn't really really going out neatly. So you have to adjust. You have to have the right material, like I said earlier. And we also changed a little bit the design on the way, but I'm gonna talk about that. So yeah, I looked into maybe if I cannot find anyone and it's so cumbersome to find someone to print it and then do the prototyping, maybe I just buy my own 3D printer. And I looked at the different options. There is the Prusa ones, which are really good, but usually a little bit more expensive. And then there is the Creality, which is basically like the Windows. It's like they are widely sold, they're easy to maintain, they're cheap, but still good quality. It's not like they're bad. This one goes from what, $200. There is a few other models, and then I ended up with the Ender 5 as one because I really like the features and the speed. I liked the frame. It was more stable and so on. It had the better display. It was just overall the better printer. I liked it, and it was just on sale or something, I believe. So yeah. Then once it went to the 3D printing, we just received it, we unpacked it, we learned about all the materials, all the things to do with it, and then we started prototyping. And let's put on pictures. So this one I actually received a little bit later, but the 3D models. So these are the versions that were made, and as you can see in the very beginning, it still had the split between 2, 4, and is this? Can you see this? Wait, I'm gonna enhance. So we got the V1 version with still the knob in the actual dial. So you have 2 grooves here, then 4, and then 8 for the word, which I later changed. Let's go to V2. This one still has 2, 4. And what we did with the different V versions was basically trying to make sure that it all fits, that the print is coming out from the 3D model, then translating it into the somewhat viscous liquid 3D printer, and then actually cooling off the whole the whole object changes just a little bit. There is the cooling is changing the size, how it flows and where it goes. It also just very slightly. And if you want to have those really good margins with the fit, you have to change the model to adapt it to how the printer is actually giving it out. So we did a few versions, and what is this? V4, so V3, V4, 3. Wait, no, it starts here. So then this version has all the grooves, I believe. Yes, so this version has 16 grooves, so it doesn't have the division anymore, because this way it's more versatile. And then it has also 2 shafts. This one is the 6mm shaft, and this one is the 7mm shaft. So you can use different stamps for it, not just one. You're not limited in this design. This was just a test for the size, so it doesn't have the 2 grooves, but the 2 shafts, but this one does again. And then it's basically the final version where, oh yeah, I forgot about this. This version also has the knob removed, because at this point in time, I also realized I did all this for me, but I also can have it as an offer for other people on Etsy, so that they don't have to go through all this work and all the difficulties, and they can have just the prepared thing, buy the washers, get the jig if they wanted to. It's really optional. Like I said in the beginning, if you really want to, you can just get the stamps. Maybe you have your arbor press at home, you get the hammer if you don't have one at home, and you get the washers and you stamp away. And it's the cheapest, in my opinion, the best scalable, the sturdiest solution that you can get. So you don't even need all this. It just makes it a little bit easier. And then I removed the knob here and made it modular, so that when you send it by mail, if I send it to my friends, my family, to people who want to buy this, that it's actually fitting in an envelope, and that it doesn't break off during shipping, and that it's just a better product. Yeah. So this one has the changed version, and then the very last one, it has the knob, it has the 2 shafts, and it has the 16 dial positions where you can use it for the passphrase and for the seed words. Yeah. And then here are some example stampings, hex.com. And here is a cool view of how it actually looked originally in the 3D model program. So I found the model. It's available. What was the open that website actually? Should be in the files later on as well. I think it was on Thingiverse that I got it initially. Yeah, there it is. So this one is available for anyone to download for free. There you go, Blockmit. That's the original design. And what is it? 4590734. That's the Blockmit on Thingiverse. So in the chat for everybody. Here you go. So when I looked at this, I didn't like some of the structural issues with it, because it was like too narrow here. The original design didn't have like straight lines. It was weirdly, it was weirdly set up in the original 3D model. It had this knob that was just straight up, and it was hard to grab it and pull it off. It was easier with the change where I have the hexagon at the top, and then you can actually really grip it and pull it off. So that's a little bit more convenient. And we changed a lot of those little like small details that make it more convenient for me to use, because I wanted it to be easy, convenient, fast, and just all around nice. Yeah. And then came the printing. And then these were one of the few first prints came out. This is what it looks like in the Printerino. And then more and more people were interested in those. And here are just some of the orders. And this is the actual filament that is used. So I use eSun for mine. It's PLA plus. It's a little bit better than the average. You don't really need to use any of those others like PTG or something or super. There is some PLA that you can harden in the oven. So you do the print, then you put it in the oven, and then it's more resistant to heat after you've done it, but it also becomes more brittle. This one I found is like the best mix between rigidity, but also it's just enough malleable so it doesn't break. So it can bend just a little bit. It gives so that it doesn't break if you hammer it by mistake or something. And they're really sturdy. Like you can, I sometimes get the question of how often or how long can you use these jigs, because the jig itself is not hammered, because there is the metal underneath and it's empty. Wait, you can actually see it. Yeah, because you're basically hammering into this space, so you're not actually hammering on the jigs and it doesn't get damaged. This is a very nice feature of the jig. So you can use it endlessly. You can get one, let you print one, and then you use it for all your friends, all your families for the next like 2, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, as long as the plastic doesn't get molten or something. Don't leave it maybe in your car where it's hot, where the plastic can melt, but otherwise it's gonna survive all the hammering. Yeah. And then after a while, expansion, second printer. Now we have 4 printers here at home. And it's not just it's also it's also for printing of my girlfriend's shop. She's also doing more than me now, a lot of printing, 3D printing, and she's laughing sitting there designing all the good stuff. I'm so thankful for having her. She loves it. Yeah, you love it. She loves to print, she loves to design, she loves to do all this stuff. I'm very, very grateful. Yeah, very convenient. Yeah, so here you go. Lots and lots of jigs. And then here is a full set that I ended up. I also made this handy little thing to hold the stamps for me, so it's easier to grab them. And then this is the like final nothing here. The final assembled one. The seat backup. And then we made all these cool diagrams. You can see the exact details. And this is actually the updated one. I didn't upload that one yet into the shop, but I should. Because initially, so we had only those M7, M8 with 2 shafts here. But just recently, we updated it to 3 so that it can also hold the 8mm, like the giant stamps. Because if you have the bigger 10, wait, does it have it here? I should probably put this up. So if you have the So you have here the 8mm one, and then the 10mm one. So if you have the bigger one, you might also want to use bigger letters. It's easier to read, maybe for somebody with impaired vision or older people. If you want bigger letters here, you can. You can up to like 5 or 6mm letters. So it's like double the size of the ones that are here. This is 3mm size. If you have a bigger size letters, you also have bigger sized stamps, and those go usually up to 8mm for the shaft here. And then this new version has the 8mm shaft in it as well. So it's like free for the smaller ones. For the M7 and the M8, it's not large enough. The washer itself is not large enough, but for the M10 washers, it works out that you can get up to letters up to 5 or 6mm big. Yeah. And then, yeah, this is then the final piece. You got all the colors and more expanded. We have like 14 colors now by now. All of them. And then if you're really hard pressed on time, you can even buy the Bene Creat, the full set with everything. I found a really good supplier of like bolts and nuts, and they are A2. Can you see it on this one? So it's this specific 09021, so that it's the exact size. Does it say? No, it doesn't say, but it's there. Okay, A2 stainless steel. So it doesn't say 3 or 4 stainless steel, but this is the same thing. So A2 3 or 4 stainless steel, DIN 9021. This is the standard for the size. Do I have the size specifications? Yeah, I don't think I do. Let's just open that up, because this one is an international standard and it's easy to find stamps, so you know that you really have the right size. And then there is a whole table here where you can find, okay, here, this is the M8, this is the M10 that I want, and then they have the 24 and the 30mm diameter, full diameter. Yep. So in the end, if you are hard pressed on time and you want the full experience without ever having to go to do anything, you can have like this full set. And you have the washers, you have 3 complete stainless steel backups, you got 2 jigs, you got the stamps in there, and you just have everything that you want. And this was my journey. Money says, very good. Thank you. So if you're interested, I hope that helped you out. Check out my shop. Hit me up on Telegram, hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions about all this process, where to find it. Maybe you have questions about the prints or something. Otherwise, you can check out my Etsy shop here, which has all the products you have. You can buy the thing together, or you can buy just the jig, or you can just ask me for information, and you can also check out the links in the description below once I have edited the video later on, and you can find all the information and get a really cheap, efficient, sturdy, fireproof, earthquake-proof, superb seed backup for your seed phrase and for your passphrase. Yeah. And with this, I think we're gonna end here, because I believe I covered all. Yeah, I think I'm good. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.